So I have a more humorous, in my opinion, story here. It's about how doctors are told to lecture us on climate change. Now, I'm obviously not going to put forth any opinion about whether climate change is real or not, because YouTube. But it's interesting to see what the people that are brought in this article think about this move. So this is from the Royal College of Physicians. They issued new guidance that tells doctors to raise the topic during consultations and repeat it often. It calls on doctors to reduce carbon footprints by considering working from home, reducing their already limited time with patients, and cutting back on prescriptions and tests. That's interesting. Do you support not getting tested for a disease or an illness that you might have in the name of climate change, or not getting the prescriptions you need? I don't, but maybe you do. Who knows? They also told doctors to look out for people suffering from eco distress, the name given to anxiety and depression caused by climate change. There was a backlash when the Green Toolkit, that's an interesting name, was posted about on GP industry website Pulse with warnings it could mean misdiagnosis. Why, yes, it could. That's what tests are for, to find out the problem while it is still not completely obvious, because, as they say, when the problem is small, it takes an expert to find it, but anyone can fix it. When a problem is large, anyone can see it, but only an expert can fix it. The whole point of all these tests is to catch it early so that it can be dealt with more easily and more safely. One commenter on a forum designed for GPs to share their views described it as virtue signaling with zero danger of any blame for the stuff that might be missed. Yes, the Royal College is not taking responsibility for, and let's move on. Another described the advice as no use to anyone and downright dangerous, warning it could possibly end the career of a doctor if they did not carry out a vital test or issue a prescription. That's exactly it. That's what I wanted to say. The Royal College is not taking any responsibility, but people might be hurt if they miss a test or a prescription, and then the doctor that didn't do his job because of this advice from the Royal College, he might be sued. His career might be over. So the patient is going to get hurt, the doctor is going to get hurt, but the people who actually issued this advice, they sit safe and sound. They're not affected at all. Another simply asked, is this some sort of parody? Yeah, that's what I thought it is. That's why I brought this article as humorous. Other critics described it as seriously unethical and said doctors should spend their precious time treating patients rather than lecturing them on politicized issues. The 11-page document advises medics to talk about the health benefits of climate action and to keep their messages simple. Yeah, because you're too stupid to understand complexity, right? We all are, and that's why the doctors should talk to us as though we are 5-year-olds. It adds, don't debate the science. I wonder why. Do they not have confidence in themselves? I mean, in their point of view? Because I thought that in order to convince somebody that disagrees with you, you have to debate him. You have to show him that he's wrong. And I figured since it's so important to talk about the health benefits of climate action, you want as many people to believe in climate change as possible. So you debate the people that you find disagree with it. Isn't that how you convince them? The RCP, which represents 40,000 doctors worldwide, says members should promote remote appointments as a way of cutting down on environmentally damaging travel, and says they could work from home on days they are not delivering clinical care. It also calls on health staff to look for opportunities to send emails or texts instead of traditional letters to reduce road transportation-related pollution, as well as energy use and printing costs. So basically, stay at home, don't use paper, don't use anything, just don't consume anything and stay still. Presumably, that's the thing you need to do in order to save the world from climate change. It also calls on health staff to look for opportunities to send emails or texts instead. No, I already read that one. The document billed climate change as one of the biggest threats to human health and stresses it will undoubtedly cause significant additional pressure for the NHS. You mean like the lockdowns that made a lot of people miss their appointments and become depressed and were proven to have no health benefit whatsoever? That kind of threat to human health cause additional significant pressure for the NHS? It warns that those working in the health service will be some of the first to see the health effects of climate change, if they have not done so already, and calls on them to take action to reduce its impact. Now I wonder, how does the effect of climate change on health look? How does a person suffering from the effects of climate change actually appear to a doctor? Well, what's the diagnosis? I mean, show me on the doll how climate change hurt you, please. It's just so nonsensical. The entire thing is a parody of itself. It's truly amazing that these are the people that run our societies and have run it for so long now, decades probably. They're so detached from reality. I guess we're just seeing it more clearly now that they are moving swiftly to achieve their goals, effect the change they have been planning on. It says here, Benny Pazer, I believe, forgive me if I botched your name, from the skeptical think tank Global Warming Policy Foundation, described the document as seriously unethical and called for it to be scrapped. Now, Global Warming Policy Foundation does not sound as though they are on the other side. The people that don't believe in global warming, in climate change, and before global warming, it was global cooling, right? The next ice age. There's always something. Anyway, so they don't seem as though they are anti-establishment at all by their name. But they still say that it should be scrapped. He said, this has the potential to undermine the trusting relationship between doctor and patient and risks starting a heated debate. Patients will want to use their limited time with a doctor discussing their health rather than having a highly politicized issue pushed down their throats. So basically, this is a bad move. He's saying that this will not work and be counterproductive, hurt their cause. And he's right. That's why, don't interrupt your opponent when they're making a mistake. But they already know they're making a mistake. They don't need me to tell them that. Besides, I don't have nearly enough viewers yet for anyone to actually pay attention. But if we're being honest, this is just stupidity. It's not even about how evil it is to tell doctors don't do tests and prescriptions for your patients, which is very evil in my opinion, very, very evil. It's not even about that, it's stupid. Nobody in their right minds would agree to this. You're telling the doctor to risk his career every time he's obeying these directives. Not to mention, you're telling them to get into essentially political debates with their patients, which, worst case scenario, could even escalate. Who is going to do that as their job? Why did he go to med school instead of going and learning, I don't know, physics or something to be a climate scientist? If you want to debate people with climate change, then get somebody who's actually trained to be a climate scientist to do that. How about you have televised debates? No, wait, you don't want debate at all. Forgive me. And you're already shoving down our thoughts through the culture the idea that climate change is real and a present danger to society. I'm not saying it's not YouTube. I'm not disagreeing in any way. So, to conclude, the booklet says climate change is projected to cause an excess of 250,000 deaths per year by 2050. And although more than half of these are likely to be in Africa, the UK will not be immune from the direct effects of extreme heat and flooding or the inevitable arrival of climate refugees. Okay, so far we've had how many refugees that weren't climate refugees? And you said you have to take them all? In fact, these refugees often, I believe we had articles on it, go home for vacations while claiming asylum in the West. Which is interesting for a refugee. I thought a refugee is somebody who was fleeing persecution in their home country, but I guess going back for some persecution vacation is normal nowadays. Anyway, extreme heat and flooding. We've been told that there's going to be extreme heat, the ice caps will melt in the North Pole, the South Pole, and the places next to the shore are going to become flooded and unlivable. People are going to lose their homes. We've been told that for how many decades now? I'm not that old. I've heard it in school, when I was in school, like 20 years ago or something, in high school. And they promised, yeah, by 2015, by 2020, 2010, I think even the earliest predictions, maybe before, I don't know. But that's okay. We've also had interesting predictions for an ice age, like I said before, climate change or global warming. And that didn't happen either. I'm not saying that it won't happen, obviously. Okay, the climate scientists are experts and you should trust them. Totally. In a section titled Communicating with Patients About Climate Change, it tells doctors you are uniquely placed as a trusted member of the community to discuss public health threats with patients. So argue your position from authority and don't debate. You make up your own mind on why. Health professionals can help their communities understand how climate change will affect their health and how to protect themselves. Okay, how about you give us examples here in your little booklet? No? It repeats 10 tips from the World Health Organization, which includes keep your message simple and repeat it often, talk about the health benefits of climate action, and don't debate the science. In short, recite our message, keep it simple, and don't argue. The toolkit highlights research by the UK Health Security Agency that says heat-related deaths could increase by 580% in the UK between now and in the 2050s in a high warming scenario with no further climate adaptation. We've been told that global warming is a thing for a while now. I have yet to hear any statistic that says that we've had increased death due to heat at all. It can be challenging to prioritize sustainability at a time when there is very high demand for clinical care, but this can ultimately deliver wider benefits for population health and in return reduce pressure on the NHS. I am still wondering how it will do any of it. Well, okay, let's see. Here's how heat can affect your health. When cars burn petrol, they emit toxic air pollutants that can be bad for your health. Remember to carry an inhaler, avoid busy roads where possible, and consider wearing a mask outside. We already know that those masks prevent you from getting enough oxygen, and that the people who suffered from long COVID, most of them, almost all of them, were constantly wearing masks, which again reduced the amount of oxygen in their blood and left them vulnerable. That's why their body couldn't completely defeat COVID. Interesting. Very interesting. So basically, wear a mask constantly and don't drive anywhere. Don't walk even, right? If you're walking on the road and there's a vehicle passing by, better have a mask or something. Do masks even stop you from inhaling pollution from burnt petrol? I don't know about that. The NHS is responsible for 40% of the UK's public sector emissions and 4% of total emissions. Yes, but the entire UK in percents of total global carbon emissions is so low, and I am still waiting for someone to give me a proper explanation of how carbon is driving climate change. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just saying that I personally have not yet seen a proof that they convinced me. So the NHS already started to adopt electric ambulances. You know, in order to have an electric vehicle, you need a battery, and there's not enough materials. I forgot what it was that's rare and you need for the battery. There's not enough materials for 10% of the cars to become electric on the entire planet. How exactly are we going to convert all the vehicles to electric? I have no idea. Yeah, the NHS started to adopt electric ambulances despite warnings about their reliability and has committed to becoming net zero by 2030. I think that's a very bad idea. An NHS England spokesperson said NHS staff must always put patients' needs first. Green solutions should be adopted only when it is clinically appropriate and could save taxpayers' money. In my opinion, I don't think there is ever such an occasion, but I may be wrong. Decarbonizing the public sector through reducing energy costs and improving efficiency offers a huge opportunity for growth at a comparatively low cost to the taxpayer. I don't think so. From what I saw, green energy is unreliable and expensive, but hey, I might be wrong. I'm probably wrong because the experts say the opposite. Allowing savings to be delivered to the front line. Professor Ramesh? I can't read his name. Ramesh Arasaradnam, academic vice president at the RCP, said, "The need to act has never been more urgent, and we hope that our Green Physician Toolkit will support the physician community with small steps that can make a difference. It can, of course, be challenging to prioritize sustainability." Yeah, we already read that. Anyway, tell me what you think, comment, but I find the whole thing honestly ludicrous. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think people are going to accept it. Maybe a couple of years down the line, if censorship is going to become much more pronounced, maybe we get the social credit score. At that point, maybe people are more controllable and might be feeling forced to go along with it. But at least with the way things are today, I honestly don't see it happening at all. I think this is just going to be a pushback because, honestly, who's going to put their career on the line in the name of climate change? Oh yes, just you need this test to figure out what you have, but never mind, let's forget it. Who's going to sign up for such a health service too? You won't have patients, you won't have doctors. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.